there, ghosts and ghouls. Warlock Boo here. And I get asked a lot, what makes a good My Little Pony Grimdark? Well, it has to be creepy. Has to be scary. But it has to keep the characters' personalities intact. And I got a perfect one for you. This story is creepy. It's scary at the end and puts shivers down my spine every time. And tears in my eyes because of the sad part. Keeps the characters acting like they should. This story is the Cutie Mark Crusaders by Lana Fan 1K. Enjoy! Once upon a time in the magical land of Equestria, there was a town on the edge of the forest. The forest was something that all the town's inhabitants knew to avoid, but the town prospered regardless of the forest's danger. In the town lived hundreds of all types of ponies, unicorns, Pegasus, and earth ponies. The earth ponies tended to the land, while the Pegasus see to the weather. The unicorns use the magical abilities to perform various tasks around the town, helping every pony they can. On the edge of the town, not far from the Everfree Forest, there was a farm. This farm was huge, consisting of nothing but apple trees as far as the eye can see. Living on the farm were two siblings, an earth pony brother and sister, and together they tended to the innumerable apple trees each year, providing high-quality apples across the land. A fashionista lived near the center of town. She lived alone, but that doesn't bother her. It allowed her to focus on her beautiful dresses and peace. She sold them to the best of the nobility, her name reaching just as far as the farmer's apples. Above the town lived a Wonderboat cadet. Her speed was unrivaled by even the best flyers. She spent her time not working on the weather, procrastinating and training for her future career. She dashed and zoomed and looped and weaved and performed very complex maneuvers each day. Once she finished a set of exercises, she was met with silence. She often took a break in one of the trees. The silence allowed her to nap without interruption. Elsewhere in the town, there stood a schoolhouse. In the schoolhouse were many little fillies and colts, some with cutie marks and some without. Their time without a cutie mark were often difficult. The pressures of finding one's destiny to top off a bully or two made adolescence intolerable at times. Every year, there were one or two fillies of colts that hadn't found their true talent as fast as the rest of their class. Their surpassed failure and constant bullying drove them to despair and desperation, but when the pain became too much, they found three little fillies who just wanted to have fun together on a quest to find their cutie marks. The filly or colt instantly befriended them, and together they went on adventures trying to find their cutie marks. Their desperation waned as each day was filled with joy. The bullies had no effect, as nothing can ruin the happiness of playing with their friends each day. And so the school year would go on, the only filly or colt remaining a blank flank far longer through impossible. Normally, in other places, this would be of no concern, as the foals would be considered a late bloomer and would find their talent just like the rest of them. But this town is far from normal. Each year, on the very first day of summer vacation, that filly or colt would go out to play with his or her new friends. They would wander through the town for their friends for hours, unable to find them. Saddened by the desperation of their friends, the foal would wander the vast farm of apple trees, never to be heard of again. But every pony who lived in the town for several years knew exactly where the filly or colt went. He or she would join their friends, playing among the trees of Sweet Apple Acres, and then, at the start of the next year, the cycle would begin again. Another filly or colt would find three fillies to befriend, and together they would go on grand adventures. And at the end of each year, on the first day of summer, they too would disappear within the farmer's trees. And each year, the town would search hoping the cycle would be broken, but finding everything the same as the previous year. The parents would grieve for their loss, often taking their own lives in the end. Those who had lived on would try to warn others, but their warnings would fall on deaf ears, assuming to be nothing more than the stories of scared fillies or colts into behaving. But by the end of the next year, those that were warned quickly realized the truth of those warnings' first hoof. Again, a search would be held. Again, the discovery is the same. No matter how many times the process repeated, no pony dared to be the first to check the center of the farm. Near sunset of the second day, the search party would converge at the center, most knowing too well what awaited them. The filly or colt that they had gone missing would be found, curled up on the ground in front of a stone slab, as though they were sleeping. But the others knew better. They knew. They would only need to see the red and gold cape loosely tied around the foal's neck as confirmation. The parents would be filled with relief, rushing forward to embrace the loved one as others looked away, unable to bear witness to the event. The cries of joy quickly torn to sorrow and rage. Their little ones unresponsive to their touch and cold as stone in their hoofs. The town inhabitants would walk away, eyes dry, as they have seen this enough to know what had happened, many having gone through this themselves. Then through the summer, the fields and trees would be filled with laughter, a brother and sister focusing on their work in an effort to ignore the pain accompanied the giggle of the four foals. Every night that the summer, the siblings on the farm, the fashionista, and the Wonderbolt cadet would return to the spot where so many fillies and colts have lost their lives, paying homage to them and the ones responsible for the deaths, begging an end to the curse plaguing the town. For in the center of the vast field of apple trees lay the remains of a burned-down treehouse. In front of the treehouse was a single slab of vertical stone with a simple reading: "Here lies Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, and Scootaloo, 3 fillies whose lives were taken too soon, their destinies taken before they were found. May you find eternal happiness. Cutie Mark Crusaders." So, my ghoulies, what did you think of that? It's a rather sad story. It always brings a tear to my eye when I read it. But I think it's one of the best fanfic My Little Pony grimdarks I've ever read. There are others that I love just as much. You hear them on this channel constantly, such as Why I Don't Watch My Little Pony Anymore, The Trees Are Screaming, things like that. These are how creepypasta My Little Pony grimdarks should be. They should keep the personality of the characters just enough to make it scary. And those stories do it so well. And they need to unnerve you with what you know about the story, what you know about the characters, and play on that. And that works great to me. But what do you think of this story? Are there any others you want me to read? Anything else specific I need to do? Tell me down below. And subscribe. I do these at least every Tuesday, with Sunday being my review week for cartoons and animation. Thursday, like this one falls on, is my whatever the hell I want to do day. So, I did this. But, hit that subscribe and the bell icon to get information whenever I upload. Till then, this has been Warlock Boo, hoping to be spoken y'all later. Bye.
I found you!
No! No!